The 7 Laws of Wisdom, written and published by Ngasline. In the vast tapestry of human thought, certain minds shine like beacons across millennia, their wisdom not merely surviving time, but growing more luminous with each passing century. From the sun-baked streets of ancient Athens to the meditative gardens of Kyoto, 7 extraordinary thinkers discovered universal laws of wisdom that transcend culture, era, and circumstance. These weren't merely philosophers pontificating from ivory towers. They were warriors, emperors, slaves, and sages who tested their ideas in the crucible of real-world experience. Their insights, battle-tested through war, loss, triumph, and transformation, reveal a profound understanding of the human condition that feels almost shocking in its modern relevance. Through their eyes, we discover not abstract theories, but practical principles for navigating life's greatest challenges, finding lasting happiness, and achieving a depth of understanding that transforms ordinary existence into an extraordinary journey. What these 7 minds understood, and what they can teach us today, isn't just philosophy. It's a revolution in thinking that has the power to fundamentally alter how you experience every moment of your life. Lesson 1. Inner peace creates outer mastery. The journey to wisdom begins with a profound understanding. The state of our inner world directly shapes our outer reality. This fundamental truth has been recognized by ancient philosophers, spiritual masters, and wise teachers across cultures and throughout history. The relationship between inner peace and outer mastery is not merely philosophical. It is a practical pathway to living a life of purpose, clarity, and achievement. Our inner state acts as a lens through which we perceive and interact with the world. When our minds are turbulent, filled with anxiety, fear, or confusion, these internal disturbances manifest in our actions, decisions, and relationships. Like a pond disturbed by countless ripples, a troubled mind cannot reflect reality clearly or respond to life's challenges effectively. However, when we cultivate inner peace, our perception becomes crystal clear, allowing us to see situations as they truly are and respond with wisdom rather than reaction. The ancient Greeks understood this principle through their concept of ataraxia, a state of serene tranquility that allows for clear thinking and right action. This state wasn't viewed as passive resignation, but as an active cultivation of mental stability that empowers effective engagement with life. Similarly, Eastern philosophies speak of sahaja, a natural state of ease and spontaneity that emerges from inner harmony. Cultivating inner peace requires dedicated practice and understanding. The first step is recognizing that peace isn't the absence of external conflict, but the presence of internal stability. This stability can be developed through various practices that have stood the test of time. Regular meditation, mindful breathing, and conscious awareness of our thoughts and emotions form the foundation of this inner work. Ancient wisdom traditions teach us that emotional balance is crucial for maintaining inner peace. This doesn't mean suppressing or denying our emotions, but rather developing the ability to observe and understand them without being overwhelmed. The Stoic philosophers of ancient Rome practiced this through their discipline of assent, carefully examining their emotional responses and choosing which impressions to accept or reject. As inner peace deepens, its effects naturally manifest in our external world. Decision-making becomes clearer and more aligned with our true values. Relationships improve as we bring presence and understanding to our interactions. Professional challenges are met with composed clarity rather than stressed reactivity. Even physical health can improve as the mind-body connection responds to our greater internal harmony. The mastery that emerges from inner peace is distinct from control achieved through force or will. It is more akin to the skill of a master gardener who understands the natural principles of growth and works in harmony with them. This form of mastery allows us to influence our environment while remaining adaptable and responsive to changing circumstances. In our modern world of constant stimulation and external pressures, the cultivation of inner peace might seem like an unrealistic luxury. However, it is precisely these challenging conditions that make inner peace not just desirable but essential for effective living. The ancient wisdom traditions teach us that true strength comes not from hardening ourselves against life's challenges, but from developing the internal stability to meet them with grace and wisdom. The practice of cultivating inner peace is a lifelong journey, not a destination. Each day presents new opportunities to deepen our understanding and strengthen our foundation of internal stability. As we progress on this path, we discover that inner peace is not just a personal refuge, but a source of power that enables us to engage more effectively with all aspects of life. This first law of wisdom, that inner peace creates outer mastery, sets the foundation for all other principles of wisdom. It reminds us that true transformation begins within, and that the quality of our inner life inevitably shapes the reality we experience and create in the outer world. Through this understanding, we begin to access the deeper currents of wisdom that flow through all authentic spiritual and philosophical traditions. Lesson 2. Wisdom speaks in quiet moments. In the ceaseless rush of modern life, we often overlook the profound truth that wisdom flourishes in moments of silence and solitude. Throughout history, great thinkers, philosophers, and spiritual leaders have sought refuge in quiet spaces to access deeper understanding and clarity. The ancient Greeks practiced contemplation in their sacred groves, while Eastern sages retreated to mountain temples to commune with universal truths. The power of silence extends far beyond mere absence of noise. It creates a sacred space where our inner voice can emerge, uncluttered by the constant chatter of daily life. When we step away from the cacophony of external demands, we allow our minds to settle, like still water reflecting the sky above. In these moments of clarity, insights naturally arise and solutions to complex problems often present themselves effortlessly. Historical figures like Marcus Aurelius demonstrated the transformative power of solitude through their private contemplations. The Roman emperor's personal writings, composed during quiet moments between his duties, became timeless wisdom that still resonates today. Similarly, ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu discovered profound insights while spending time alone in nature, leading to the creation of the Tao Te Ching. Creating quiet time in our lives doesn't require dramatic lifestyle changes. It can be as simple as waking up 15 minutes earlier to sit in silence before the day begins, or taking a solitary walk during lunch break. The key is consistency rather than duration. Even brief moments of intentional silence can yield remarkable insights when practiced regularly. Developing intuitive listening skills begins with acknowledging that wisdom often speaks in whispers rather than shouts. Just as a hunter must become still to notice subtle movements in the forest, we must quiet our mental activity to perceive the gentle nudges of intuition. This involves cultivating what Zen practitioners call beginner's mind, approaching each moment with openness and curiosity, free from preconceptions. The practice of solitude should not be confused with isolation. Instead, it represents a conscious choice to temporarily step away from external influences to connect with our inner wisdom. Many great discoveries and creative breakthroughs throughout history occurred during such moments of solitary contemplation. Einstein developed his theory of relativity during quiet walks. Newton's understanding of gravity crystallized during solitary moments in his garden. In our interconnected world, finding true solitude may seem challenging, but it's precisely this challenge that makes it more valuable than ever. The constant bombardment of information and stimulation in modern life creates a kind of mental static that drowns out our inner wisdom. By deliberately creating spaces of silence in our daily routine, we clear the channel through which wisdom can flow. The practice of listening in silence extends beyond personal reflection. When we bring this quality of quiet attention to our interactions with others, we become better listeners and more insightful communicators. The space between words often holds deeper meaning than the words themselves, and only in silence can we truly hear what's being conveyed beneath the surface. Ancient wisdom traditions teach that truth reveals itself to those who learn to listen with their whole being, not just their ears. This involves developing what some traditions call the art of presence. the ability to be fully immersed in the current moment without mental commentary or judgment. Through this practice, we begin to recognize that wisdom is not something we acquire, but rather something we allow to emerge from the quiet depths of our consciousness. The journey into silence is both simple and profound. It requires no special equipment or expertise, only the willingness to pause and listen. As we cultivate this practice, we discover that wisdom has been speaking to us all along. We were simply too busy to hear it. In the quiet moments we create, we find not only answers to our questions, but often deeper, more meaningful questions to explore. Lesson 3. Knowledge flows through still minds. The human mind, when agitated, is like a pond disturbed by ripples. It distorts everything it reflects. Yet when that same pond grows still, it mirrors reality with perfect clarity. This fundamental truth has been understood by ancient philosophers and modern thinkers alike, forming the cornerstone of mental mastery and deeper understanding. The art of mental clarity begins with recognizing the natural state of our minds. Throughout history, great thinkers have compared the mind to various elements: a monkey jumping from branch to branch, a wild horse that needs gentle taming, or an ocean with waves of thoughts constantly crashing upon the shore of consciousness. These analogies help us understand that mental activity is natural, but controlled stillness is an art that must be cultivated. Ancient traditions across cultures have developed sophisticated techniques for achieving mental clarity. The Buddhist practice of vipassana, for instance, teaches practitioners to observe thoughts without attachment, allowing them to pass like clouds in the sky. Taoist masters developed methods of quieting the mind through breath work and visualization, while Greek philosophers advocated contemplative walks in nature to achieve mental equilibrium. One of the most significant obstacles to mental clarity is our modern tendency to overthink. The ancient Stoics recognized this challenge, teaching that most of our mental suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about the importance of distinguishing between what truly matters and what our minds unnecessarily complicate. This wisdom remains particularly relevant in our information-saturated age. The path to accessing deeper knowledge through stillness requires consistent practice and patience. Just as an athlete must train regularly to maintain physical fitness, the mind requires daily discipline to maintain clarity. This might begin with simple breathing exercises, where one focuses solely on the rhythm of inhaling and exhaling. As this practice deepens, the ability to maintain mental clarity naturally extends into daily activities. The relationship between mental stillness and knowledge acquisition is profound. When the mind is calm, it becomes more receptive to subtle insights and deeper understanding. Ancient Sanskrit texts describe this state as dharana, where the mind becomes like a perfectly focused lens, capable of penetrating the surface of reality to glimpse deeper truths. This state isn't merely about accumulating information. It's about developing the capacity to understand and integrate knowledge at a fundamental level. Meditation serves as a primary tool for developing mental stillness, but it's important to understand that meditation extends beyond sitting quietly with closed eyes. The ancient traditions teach various forms of meditation: walking meditation, contemplative observation, and even meditation through mindful activity. The key is developing the ability to maintain mental clarity regardless of external circumstances. As the mind grows still, it naturally begins to access what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious, a reservoir of universal wisdom that transcends individual experience. This phenomenon was well understood by ancient cultures who developed various practices to tap into this deeper well of knowledge. Through mental stillness, we create the conditions necessary for insights and understanding to emerge naturally, much like allowing sediment to settle in water reveals the clear liquid beneath. The process of cultivating mental stillness also reveals how our thoughts create our reality. When the mind is agitated, problems appear insurmountable and solutions seem distant. Yet in moments of clarity, the same challenges often reveal their own solutions. This is why ancient wisdom traditions consistently emphasize the importance of mental cultivation as a prerequisite for true knowledge and understanding. The practice of maintaining mental clarity in our modern world requires both dedication and adaptability. While the fundamental principles remain unchanged, we must learn to apply them in a context of constant digital stimulation and information overload. The answer lies not in complete withdrawal from modern life, but in developing the capacity to maintain inner stillness amidst external activity. Through this balance, we can access the deeper knowledge that flows naturally through still minds, allowing wisdom to guide our actions in both ancient and modern contexts. Lesson 4. Ancient Truths Never Aged. Throughout human history, across diverse civilizations and cultures, certain fundamental truths have remained constant, transcending time and geography. These universal principles continue to guide humanity, proving that authentic wisdom is timeless and borderless. From the teachings of ancient Greek philosophers to the profound insights of Eastern sages, these enduring truths consistently emerge, albeit expressed through different cultural lenses. The concept of cause and effect, for instance, appears in various forms across ancient traditions. The Hindu and Buddhist concept of karma, the Chinese principle of yin and yang, and the Western philosophical notion of natural law all point to the same underlying truth. Our actions create corresponding reactions. This principle remains as relevant today in understanding personal relationships, business dynamics, and social interactions as it was thousands of years ago. Ancient civilizations also understood the importance of balance and moderation, a principle that becomes increasingly vital in our modern world of excess and extremes. The Greek concept of golden mean, the Buddhist middle way, and the Confucian idea of harmony all emphasize this essential truth. In today's fast-paced world, where burnout and stress-related ailments are common, this ancient wisdom offers a crucial remedy for our contemporary challenges. The relationship between mind and reality, explored deeply by ancient traditions, finds striking parallels in modern psychology and quantum physics. Ancient mystics understood that our thoughts and perceptions shape our experience of reality, a principle now supported by scientific research on neuroplasticity and the observer effect in quantum mechanics. The ancient Egyptian maxim as above, so below reflects this understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, a concept that modern systems theory and ecology continue to validate. The cyclical nature of existence, another recurring theme in ancient wisdom, provides valuable insights for modern life. Ancient cultures recognize that everything moves in cycles, seasons, civilizations, personal growth, and even success. This understanding helps us navigate modern challenges with greater patience and perspective, knowing that both difficulties and triumphs are temporary states in a larger cycle. Ancient wisdom traditions also emphasize the importance of character development over external achievements. The Stoic philosophers of Rome, the virtue ethics of Confucianism, and the moral teachings of various religious traditions all stress that true success comes from developing noble qualities rather than accumulating material wealth or social status. This principle offers valuable guidance in our achievement-oriented society, reminding us that sustainable success requires internal development. The power of present-moment awareness, a cornerstone of ancient spiritual practices, has gained renewed recognition through modern mindfulness movements. Ancient traditions understood that true peace and clarity come from fully experiencing the present moment, rather than dwelling in past regrets or future anxieties. This wisdom becomes increasingly relevant in our distraction-filled world. Ancient traditions also recognize the interconnected nature of all life, a truth that environmental science and ecology now confirm. Indigenous wisdom about living in harmony with nature, respecting ecological balance, and understanding our role as stewards of the earth provides essential guidance for addressing contemporary environmental challenges. These ancient truths endure because they speak to fundamental aspects of human nature and existence that remain constant despite technological and social evolution. They offer tested solutions to perennial human challenges, finding meaning, managing relationships, dealing with change, and achieving fulfillment. Their persistence across cultures and time periods suggests they tap into something fundamental about human experience and consciousness. The modern world, with its rapid technological advancement and social change, might seem to have outgrown ancient wisdom. However, these enduring truths continue to offer relevant guidance precisely because they address the unchanging aspects of human nature and existence. By understanding and applying these timeless principles, we can navigate contemporary challenges while remaining grounded in wisdom that has proven its value across millennia. Lesson 5. True power needs no force. In the annals of human history, the greatest displays of power have often come not through brute force, but through subtle influence and natural leadership. The ancient philosophers understood that true power flows like water, afting, yielding yet ultimately shaping everything it touches. This profound understanding forms the foundation of authentic influence and natural leadership. The concept of power without force was beautifully illustrated by Lao Tzu, who observed that water, the softest of all substances, could overcome the hardest stone not through confrontation, but through persistence and adaptability. This same principle applies to human interactions and leadership. When we attempt to force our will upon others, we create resistance and opposition. However, when we lead through example, understanding, and natural authority, others willingly follow our direction. Throughout history, the most influential leaders have embodied this principle. Consider the impact of figures like Mahatma Gandhi, whose nonviolent approach transformed nations, or the Dalai Lama, whose gentle presence commands respect without demanding it. Their power stems not from physical might or authoritarian control, but from inner strength and authentic wisdom. True power manifests in the ability to influence without coercion. It's found in the teacher who inspires students through passion rather than punishment, the parent who guides through understanding rather than authority, and the leader who motivates through vision rather than fear. This form of power creates lasting change because it respects the natural order of things and works with, rather than against, human nature. The ancient Greeks spoke of sophrosyne, a state of mind characterized by moderation, self-control, and harmony. This concept suggests that true power lies in the ability to maintain balance and exercise restraint, rather than in the capacity to dominate or control. When we understand this principle, we begin to see that force often indicates a lack of genuine power, while true strength manifests in gentleness and wisdom. In practical terms, this understanding transforms how we approach leadership and influence in our daily lives. Instead of trying to push against resistance, we learn to redirect energy, much like the martial art of Aikido teaches. We discover that listening often accomplishes more than speaking, that understanding surpasses commanding, and that example leads more effectively than instruction. This principle extends beyond personal interactions into organizational and societal leadership. The most successful modern organizations have moved away from hierarchical, force-based management styles toward more collaborative, influence-based approaches. They recognize that sustainable success comes not from controlling employees, but from empowering them, not from enforcing rules, but from inspiring commitment. The path to developing this type of power begins with self-mastery. When we learn to control our own reactions, emotions, and impulses, we naturally develop the kind of presence that influences others. This inner strength becomes evident in our ability to remain calm in chaos, to respond rather than react, and to lead through wisdom rather than authority. Ancient wisdom teaches us that true power is like the sun. It doesn't need to announce its presence or force its influence. It simply is, and by its nature, it affects everything around it. This kind of power creates lasting change because it works with the natural order rather than against it. It doesn't exhaust itself in the exercise of force, but grows stronger through its gentle, persistent influence. The greatest paradox of power is that the more we try to grasp it through force, the more it eludes us. Yet when we embrace the principle of effortless influence, we find ourselves naturally stepping into our true power. This is the wisdom that has guided great leaders and thinkers throughout history, and it remains as relevant today as it was in ancient times. Lesson 6. Silence holds deepest answers. In the depths of silence lies a profound wisdom that often eludes those constantly surrounded by noise and activity. Ancient philosophers and spiritual teachers across cultures have long recognized silence as more than just the absence of sound. It is a gateway to deeper understanding and clarity. The practice of embracing silence reveals answers that logic and intellectual analysis alone cannot provide. When we enter into silence, we create space for our inner wisdom to emerge. This practice goes beyond merely being quiet. It involves a conscious engagement with stillness that allows our mental chatter to settle. The ancient Taoist masters compared this process to allowing muddy water to become clear. When we stop stirring the water, the sediment naturally settles and clarity emerges on its own. Deep listening, an essential aspect of silence, requires us to move beyond our habitual patterns of thinking and reacting. It involves developing a receptivity to subtle signals, intuitive nudges, and the quiet voice of wisdom that often gets drowned out by the cacophony of daily life. This form of listening extends beyond our ears. It encompasses our entire being, allowing us to perceive truth through multiple channels of awareness. The wisdom of non-action, or Wao Wei, as taught in ancient Chinese philosophy, becomes accessible through silence. This principle doesn't advocate for complete inactivity, but rather suggests that our most effective actions emerge from a place of deep stillness. When we learn to pause and create space before responding to situations, we access a deeper intelligence that guides us toward more harmonious and effective solutions. Contemplative practices have been used for millennia as tools to access this silent wisdom. These practices range from formal meditation to simple moments of mindful awareness throughout the day. The key lies not in the specific technique, but in the quality of attention we bring to the practice. As we cultivate this attention, we develop the ability to recognize the subtle guidance that emerges from silence. Ancient monastics understood that solutions to complex problems often emerge not through forced thinking, but through allowing space for insight to arise naturally. This approach stands in stark contrast to our modern tendency to attack problems with constant analysis and activity. The paradox is that by stepping back and embracing silence, we often find clearer pathways forward than through relentless doing. The practice of silent contemplation also reveals the interconnected nature of reality. In silence, we begin to perceive the subtle relationships between things that our busy minds might otherwise miss. This enhanced perception leads to more holistic and sustainable solutions to challenges we face, both personally and collectively. Silence teaches us patience, the wisdom to wait for true answers, rather than rushing to premature conclusions. It shows us that not every question needs an immediate answer, and not every situation requires immediate action. Sometimes, the most powerful response is to remain in conscious silence until genuine clarity emerges. This approach to finding answers requires trust and courage. Trust in the process of allowing wisdom to emerge naturally, and courage to resist the societal pressure for quick fixes and immediate responses. The ancient wisdom traditions teach us that the deepest truths often reveal themselves gradually, like the slow opening of a flower. As we cultivate a relationship with silence, we develop a more refined ability to distinguish between the voice of authentic wisdom and the various forms of mental noise that often masquerade as insight. This discernment becomes increasingly important in a world filled with constant information and competing voices claiming to have answers. Incorporating regular periods of silence into our lives creates a foundation for accessing deeper wisdom. Whether through formal meditation, contemplative walks in nature, or simply taking regular breaks from the constant stream of information and activity, these practices allow us to tap into the wellspring of wisdom that silence holds. Through this engagement with silence, we discover that many of our most pressing questions already have answers. We simply need to create the space to hear them. Lesson 7. Nature teaches perfect timing. In the depths of ancient wisdom lies a profound truth that has guided civilizations for millennia. Nature is our greatest teacher of timing and rhythm. The natural world operates with an intricate precision that humans have long sought to understand and emulate. From the changing of seasons to the daily dance of sunrise and sunset, nature demonstrates that everything has its moment, its cycle, and its perfect timing. Ancient philosophers observed how trees know exactly when to shed their leaves, how animals instinctively prepare for winter, and how flowers bloom at precisely the right moment. This wisdom isn't merely poetic. It contains practical insights for modern living. The cycles of nature teach us that there are times for growth and times for rest, periods of intense activity and moments of quiet regeneration. Consider how a farmer's success depends not on forcing growth, but on understanding and working with natural timing. Planting seeds too early or too late can doom an entire harvest. Similarly, in our lives, success often hinges not on pushing harder, but on recognizing and aligning with the right moment. The ancient Chinese concept of wu wei speaks to this, the art of acting in accordance with the natural flow of life rather than against it. These natural rhythms extend beyond the physical world into human affairs. Just as there are seasons in nature, there are seasons in our lives, careers, and relationships. Ancient wisdom traditions recognize that forcing action during an inappropriate time often leads to failure, while patient observation and timely action lead to effortless success. The Vedic tradition speaks of ritucharya, living in harmony with nature's cycles as a path to health and fulfillment. Modern life has largely disconnected us from these natural patterns. We use artificial light to extend our days, climate control to ignore the seasons, and technology to override our natural rhythms. Yet our bodies and minds remain deeply connected to nature's cycles. Research shows that aligning with natural circadian rhythms improves health, productivity, and decision-making capacity. The wisdom of timing extends to emotional and spiritual realms as well. Ancient societies understood that certain times were more conducive to specific activities. Dawn for meditation, midday for active work, dusk for reflection. They recognized that emotions, like tides, have their own rhythm, and fighting against these natural ebbs and flows only creates unnecessary struggle. Learning from nature's timing requires developing patience and observational skills. Just as a meteorologist studies weather patterns, we must learn to read the signs in our environment and within ourselves. This might mean recognizing when to advance in a career, when to rest and recuperate, or when to make important life changes. The natural world shows us that timing isn't about speed, it's about appropriateness. The patterns in nature also teach us about preparation and anticipation. Animals don't wait until winter arrives to begin gathering food. They respond to subtle environmental changes long before the seasons shift. Similarly, wisdom comes from recognizing and preparing for life's transitions before they fully manifest. This foresight, learned from nature's examples, allows for smoother adaptation to change. Perhaps most importantly, nature teaches us that perfect timing often appears imperfect to our limited perspective. What might seem like delays or setbacks often serve essential purposes in the larger scheme. The dormancy of winter is crucial for spring's renewal. The darkness of night is necessary for rest and regeneration. By observing these patterns, we learn to trust in the timing of our own lives. In embracing nature's lessons about timing, we discover a profound truth. The universe operates on its own schedule, one that often differs from our hurried human timelines. True wisdom lies not in forcing our preferred timing, but in developing the discernment to recognize and flow with the natural rhythms that surround us. When we align ourselves with these patterns, we find that our actions become more effective, our decisions more sound, and our lives more harmonious. Lesson 8. Simple truths create miracles. In our quest for wisdom and understanding, we often overlook the profound power of simplicity. The most transformative truths are typically the simplest ones, yet we frequently complicate our lives by searching for complex solutions to straightforward challenges. Ancient philosophers and spiritual teachers consistently emphasize the importance of returning to basic principles, understanding that when we grasp and apply fundamental truths, miraculous changes can unfold in our lives. Consider the simple truth of cause and effect. This basic principle governs everything in our universe, from the smallest atomic interactions to the grandest cosmic events. When we truly comprehend and align our actions with this fundamental law, we begin to see remarkable shifts in our circumstances. The ancient Chinese philosophers understood this when they spoke of woe. You, I, the concept of effortless action in harmony with natural laws. The power of simplicity extends beyond philosophical concepts into practical daily living. When we declutter our minds and our environments, we create space for clarity and inspiration. The ancient Zen masters demonstrated this through their minimalist living spaces and straightforward teachings. They understood that complexity often serves as a barrier to true understanding and transformation. By stripping away unnecessary layers, we reveal the essential truths that can guide us toward profound change. One of the most powerful simple truths is that our thoughts shape our reality. This principle appears in various forms across different wisdom traditions, from ancient Egyptian teachings to modern quantum physics. When we grasp this fundamental concept and begin to consciously direct our thoughts, we witness what many would call miraculous changes in our lives. The simple act of shifting our perspective can transform our entire experience of reality. The miracle of simple truths also lies in their universal applicability. Unlike complex systems that work only under specific conditions, fundamental principles work consistently across all situations and cultures. Take the simple truth of kindness, for instance. Regardless of time, place, or circumstance, acting with kindness generates positive outcomes. This simplicity makes such truths both powerful and accessible to everyone, regardless of their background or education level. Small changes based on simple truths can create ripple effects that lead to significant transformations. The ancient Greek philosophers understood this when they advocated for daily practices of virtue. Each small act of courage, wisdom, or justice, though seemingly insignificant in isolation, contributes to a larger pattern of positive change. This accumulation of small, consistent actions based on simple principles often leads to what appears to be miraculous results. The power of simple truths also lies in their ability to cut through confusion and provide clear direction. In moments of difficulty or decision-making, returning to basic principles can illuminate the path forward. Whether it's the simple truth of impermanence taught by Buddhist masters or the basic principle of integrity emphasized in Western philosophy, these fundamental guidelines can help us navigate complex situations with greater ease and wisdom. By embracing simplicity in thought and action, we align ourselves with the natural order of the universe. Ancient wisdom traditions consistently taught that truth is simple, and that complexity often indicates a departure from fundamental principles. When we strip away unnecessary complications and return to basic truths, we often find that solutions emerge naturally and effortlessly. The miraculous power of simple truths lies not in their complexity, but in their consistent application. When we fully embrace and embody these basic principles, we begin to experience what might be called miracles, though in reality, we are simply aligning ourselves with the fundamental laws that govern our universe. The transformation that follows is as natural as water flowing downhill or the sun rising in the east. In a world that often celebrates complexity and sophistication, returning to simple truths requires both courage and wisdom. Yet it is through this return to fundamentals that we access the most profound transformative power available to us. By understanding and applying simple truths, we create the conditions for miraculous changes in our lives and in the world around us. Lesson 9. Wisdom serves prepared spirits. Ancient wisdom traditions consistently teach that true knowledge and understanding come only to those who have prepared themselves to receive them. Just as a fertile field must be tilled and nurtured before seeds can grow, the human spirit requires careful preparation to embrace and integrate wisdom. This preparation involves both internal development and external practices that create the optimal conditions for wisdom to take root and flourish. The concept of spiritual preparation has been emphasized across cultures and throughout history. In Eastern traditions, aspirants often spent years in preparation before receiving advanced teachings. This wasn't due to any form of elitism or artificial gatekeeping, but rather a deep understanding that wisdom can only be truly grasped by those who have developed the necessary internal qualities to comprehend and apply it. Preparation begins with the cultivation of basic virtues: humility, patience, persistence, and openness. These qualities create the foundation upon which deeper wisdom can be built. Humility allows us to acknowledge that there is always more to learn, regardless of our current level of understanding. Patience gives us the endurance to persist in our practices even when progress seems slow. Persistence keeps us committed to our path despite obstacles and setbacks. Openness enables us to recognize wisdom in unexpected places and forms. The prepared spirit develops a particular quality of receptivity that goes beyond mere intellectual understanding. This receptivity is cultivated through regular practices that quiet the mind and open the heart. These might include meditation, contemplative prayer, mindful movement, or other traditional spiritual practices. Through these disciplines, we develop the ability to perceive subtle truths and insights that might otherwise pass unnoticed. Physical preparation also plays a crucial role. Ancient wisdom traditions understood the intimate connection between body, mind, and spirit. They prescribed specific practices for maintaining physical health and vitality, recognizing that a strong and balanced body creates the optimal conditions for spiritual growth. This might include dietary guidelines, exercise routines, or practices for energy cultivation such as qigong or yoga. Environmental preparation is another essential aspect. Creating spaces and conditions conducive to wisdom requires careful attention to our surroundings. This might involve establishing a dedicated meditation space, spending time in nature, or simply ensuring our living environment supports rather than hinders our spiritual practice. The prepared spirit recognizes that external conditions can either support or detract from internal development. Social preparation involves cultivating relationships and connections that support our growth. This might mean seeking out teachers and mentors, joining spiritual communities, or simply surrounding ourselves with others who share our commitment to wisdom and growth. The prepared spirit understands that while the journey is ultimately personal, it is greatly enriched by meaningful connections with others on the path. Intellectual preparation provides the conceptual framework necessary to understand and integrate wisdom teachings. This involves studying traditional texts, learning from various wisdom traditions, and developing the critical thinking skills necessary to discern truth from falsehood. However, intellectual preparation must be balanced with experiential learning. Wisdom must be lived to be truly understood. The prepared spirit maintains a delicate balance between effort and surrender, between active preparation and passive receptivity. While we must do our part to create the conditions for wisdom to flourish, we must also recognize that wisdom itself comes as a gift, often in its own time and way. This paradox, that we must prepare ourselves while remaining open to what comes, is itself a profound teaching. As we engage in these various forms of preparation, we begin to notice subtle changes in our perception and understanding. Insights arise more frequently, clarity comes more easily, and wisdom begins to manifest naturally in our daily lives. The prepared spirit becomes like a well-tuned instrument, capable of receiving and expressing wisdom in increasingly refined ways. Lesson 10. Ancient paths lead modern success. In our fast-paced digital world, many assume that ancient wisdom has lost its relevance. Yet the timeless principles that guided civilizations for millennia remain powerfully applicable to our modern challenges. The ancient paths of wisdom continue to illuminate the way toward genuine success, offering profound insights that transcend technological advancement and social evolution. Consider how the Stoic philosophy of Marcus Aurelius, despite being nearly 2,000 years old, provides extraordinary guidance for modern stress management and emotional resilience. His teachings about focusing only on what we can control and accepting what we cannot remain revolutionary in today's anxiety-driven society. Business leaders worldwide now incorporate these ancient principles into their management strategies, finding that age-old wisdom creates more sustainable and harmonious work environments than many contemporary management theories. The Buddhist concept of mindfulness, developed over 2.5 millennia ago, has become a cornerstone of modern psychological well-being and professional performance. Major corporations have implemented mindfulness programs, recognizing that this ancient practice enhances employee focus, creativity, and job satisfaction. What ancient practitioners discovered through meditation and contemplation, modern neuroscience now confirms through brain imaging and clinical studies. Ancient Greek philosophers' emphasis on self-knowledge, exemplified by the Delphic maxim "Know thyself," provides a crucial counterbalance to our external focused culture. In an era of personal branding and social media presence, this introspective approach offers authentic personal development and genuine self-awareness. Successful entrepreneurs and leaders often credit their achievements to deep self-understanding and alignment with their true nature, principles that Socrates taught in the Agora of ancient Athens. The Chinese concept of wo wei, or effortless action, offers a refreshing alternative to our culture's obsession with forcing outcomes and aggressive goal pursuit. This ancient principle teaches that alignment with natural forces and timing creates more sustainable success than brute force or relentless pushing. Modern businesses are discovering that adaptability, flow, and natural timing often yield better results than rigid planning and forceful execution. Eastern philosophy's emphasis on interconnectedness provides valuable insights for today's global challenges. Ancient wisdom traditions understood that individual actions affect the whole, a principle now critical in addressing environmental concerns and social responsibility. Successful modern organizations increasingly adopt this holistic perspective, recognizing that sustainable success requires considering the broader impact of their actions. The ancient practice of apprenticeship and mentorship remains vital in modern professional development. While technology provides instant access to information, the deep wisdom transfer that occurs in personal mentoring relationships cannot be replicated digitally. Successful individuals across fields still seek out mentors, understanding that wisdom flows through relationship and direct transmission, just as it did in ancient times. These ancient paths also teach us about the cyclical nature of success and failure. Rather than viewing setbacks as permanent defeats, ancient wisdom traditions understood life's natural ebbs and flows. This perspective fosters resilience and long-term thinking, essential qualities for sustained success in any era. Practical application of ancient wisdom in modern life requires thoughtful translation rather than literal adoption. The key lies in extracting the underlying principles and adapting them to contemporary contexts. For instance, ancient meditation practices can be modified for busy schedules, and philosophical concepts can be applied to digital age challenges. The bridge between ancient wisdom and modern success is built through daily practices and conscious choices. It involves creating space for reflection in a busy schedule, practicing presence in a distracted world, and maintaining ethical principles in a profit-driven environment. When we align modern goals with ancient wisdom, we create success that is not only personally fulfilling, but also contributes positively to the larger world. Ancient paths indeed lead to modern success, not by returning us to the past, but by illuminating timeless principles that remain relevant across ages. As we navigate the complexities of contemporary life, these ancient teachings offer a compass that points toward authentic achievement and meaningful success.